public. This is seen during interviews with witnesses, suspects, as well as victims and their families, end quote. That was a statement you wrote about Michael Proctor, correct?
That is correct.
And this is after the text chain that we've just been talking about, where he called. Correct?
That is correct.
Was your statement in that evaluation true or false?
It was true.
You knew Michael Proctor's proclivities, obviously. He told them to you, correct?
The term proclivities, what does that mean?
You knew what he tended to do, what he wanted to do through his own comments, to look for nudes on a woman's phone, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
You were aware, sir, that he had received evidence in a case, evidence that doesn't belong to him, belongs to the Massachusetts State Police, at least at that point, correct? The cell phone.
I was aware that he received a cell phone, yes.
And he used that power and the authority to go through that cell phone and look for nudes of my client, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
During the same course of your evaluation, you were also asked to evaluate his investigative ability, correct?
That's correct.
You rated him the highest standard in the Massachusetts State Police, outstanding, a 5, correct?
That's correct.
And you went on to write about Michael Proctor in the commentary below that rating to justify it. Is that right?
That is accurate, yes.
You wrote, quote, Trooper Proctor has had a high-profile caseload with a lot of eye and pressure from external sources during the first day of the investigation. He handled himself and all the case with utmost professionalism and competence. He is able to investigate his case thoroughly and with strict integrity, end quote. Correct?
Which quarterly review was this?
This is the same one, October 2022. Is that right? Those are your comments.
That sounds very accurate. I just was not sure which quarterly review that was for.
Professionalism?
Yes.
You believe that he acted in accordance with the highest standards of professionalism?
During his 90-day performance, yes.
And you didn't just say he displayed professionalism, you said utmost professionalism, correct?
Yes.
Competence? Do you believe he displayed competence?
Yes.
And not just integrity, but he conducted himself, as you put it, with strict integrity. Is that right?
That is correct.
Did it show integrity in your view when your subordinate Michael Proctor
I believe that as a U.S. citizen, he has the right to comment. That's his First Amendment right. We uphold the Constitution, and it's unfortunate, unprofessional what he said in the private text message communication. He might have been voicing his frustrations. I cannot speak for Michael Proctor. It is unprofessional and unfortunate that he said that.
This was not, Sergeant Bukhenik, a private text message conversation. This was with his boss and 4 or 5 other individuals, one of whom was your boss, correct?
Correct.
This was a communication intended for and received by members of his unit in furtherance of his investigative authority, correct?
It was amongst members of the unit.
He was updating his boss about what he was doing in furtherance of the investigation, going through her phone, correct?
No, I would disagree with you on that. This was a group chain, text message chain that we were discussing private matters in our personal lives.
Private matters, including going through Miss Reed's phone?
That is unfortunately shared on that group text.
So in other words, to the public, he holds one face. In private conversations with you and your colleagues within the unit, he shows a completely different face, private face, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
You said that you believe that he has a constitutional right, a First Amendment right, to call Miss Reed a suspect in his official investigation, in his official capacity as a Massachusetts state trooper.
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you justify his statement, that vile statement?
I do not know.
Do you think it's appropriate, given the fact that he has a First Amendment right to say whatever he wants?
No, I do not.
Do you think there actually might be members of the community, parents, siblings,
Objection.
children?
Mr. Jackson, I'm going to exclude that question as argumentative. Move on.
You wrote in your report, if I may have a moment, Your Honor, you wrote in your report about his conduct. He shows composure, dignity, and respect during the performance of his duties, and especially during his interactions with the public. He has a duty to the public, to the community that he serves, correct?
Yes, he does.
Just like you have a duty to the public and the community that you serve. Is that right?
That is correct.
Do you think community members might take offense?
Yeah, Mr. Jackson, please don't do that.
He didn't just put it, that derogatory comment. He didn't just put it, or he didn't just say it, correct? You talked about the First Amendment.
Objection.
Sustained.
I'm not finished with my question, if I could.
All right, so just ask a question.
Sure.
No comments first, okay?
My question is, did he just say the word, or did he go further than just saying it?
Objection.
Okay, we've gone through this. Move on, please.
The fact is, Sergeant, you put it in writing and you liked it, correct?
I acknowledge the text message. I never saw the vile term.
Your Honor, may we approach it just very briefly for a scheduling issue?
Okay, jurors, feel free to stand up and stretch.
While they deal with that scheduling issue, let's bring in our guest for this hour to discuss. Joining us from Oakland, California, civil rights and trial attorney Lateef Gray is with us. Lateef, I want to get your opinion on whether or not having Sergeant Bukhenik is better for the prosecution when it comes to this kind of cross. Because let's assume they're not going to call Trooper Proctor, the one who actually wrote some of these really terrible text messages. This jury doesn't know about how bad it was in the first trial. Do you think it's helpful at all for the state to not have Proctor, but still have this stiff cross-examination of Bukhenik?
Good morning. Even though Proctor is not testifying, this witness is testifying essentially by proxy for Proctor, and it's not looking good for the prosecution because this is one of Proctor's supervisors, and the fact that he's on this text message exchange where vile words are being used, and he tended to like some of these text messages and did nothing to stop him or discipline Proctor, it's not looking good for this officer as well as this department.
Yeah, I like that. A proxy for Proctor is what Bukhenik is having to be right now. How do you clean this up if you can on redirect by the prosecution, or it just is what it is?
I think at this point it is what it is. This officer probably should have just admitted that Proctor was wrong and didn't engage in ethical behavior. But had he done so, he would have thrown Proctor under the bus. And by his actions of not, disciplining Proctor and liking some of his messages, he might as well have gotten under the bus right with Proctor.